DBS Group Research expects Bank Negara to cut the overnight policy rate by another 25 basis points when the Monetary Policy Committee meets next Wednesday. That would take the interest rate to a new low of 1.5%. DBS economist Irvin Seah said in a note that the move is expected to be taken in response to the potential impact on the economy by the recent emergency declaration and the implementation of MCO 2.0. He said the latest set of measures will likely trim overall GDP growth in 2021 by about 0.8 percentage point to 5.2%, down from its current forecast of 6%. Domestic consumption will be the most affected and is expected to remain a key drag on growth. Last year, the central bank made 4 cuts to the key interest rate, slashing it to a record low of 1.75%. The national state of emergency will be in effect until August 1st, while the latest movement restrictions are to last 2 weeks. However, Seah points out, chances are high that MCO 2.0 will be extended, given the ferocity of the COVID-19 resurgence. The FBM KLCI finished 8.7 points or 0.53% lower at 1,627.01 today, dragged mainly by profit-taking on banking counters amid talk of a possible rate cut. The index earlier rose to a high of 1,637.88. Arica Capital CEO Danny Wong told theedgemarkets.com that the local market will continue to be volatile as investor sentiment remains weak amid MCO 2.0. He said investors are worried that the recent surge in COVID-19 cases might delay economic recovery. Across Bursa Malaysia today, 5.85 billion securities were traded for 4.06 billion ringgit, with losers outpacing gainers by 571 to 512, while 480 counters were unchanged. Top loser Public Bank fell 2.3% to 21 ringgit and 20 sen. Meanwhile, Hong Leong Financial Group slipped 1.04% to 17 ringgit and 16 sen. Maybank was down 1.2% at 8 ringgit 25, and CIMB Group Holdings finished 1% lower at 4 ringgit 10 sen. Not everyone is sold on a possible rate cut. MIDF Amanah Investment Bank Research Head Imran Yassin Yusof told theedgemarkets.com that MIDF is maintaining its stance on an unchanged overnight policy rate, at least in the upcoming meeting next week, given the less restrictive nature of MCO 2.0. The government is imposing the MCO on the entire state of Kelantan from tomorrow until January 26th. The same restriction applies to the Sibu, Selangau and Kanowit districts in Sarawak from tomorrow until January 29th. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, who is the Senior Minister Security Cluster, said the decision was made on the advice of the Health Ministry, following a surge in COVID-19 cases in the affected areas. According to him, the average daily cases in Kelantan have increased from 80 to 100 cases since January 10th. Meanwhile, in Sarawak, he said daily numbers spiked from 2 to 251 within 14 days from December 31st. Elsewhere, Notion VTech says some of its workers have tested positive for COVID-19 and that the company has detected 87 positive and suspect cases thus far within its premises. The hard disk drive manufacturer said in a Bursa filing that it is now screening and quarantining those who've had close contact with the infected workers and has disinfected its premises, including its office, factories and hostels, which are located in Meru Klang. Its affected operation units are expected to resume operations within 3 days upon conducting disinfection procedures. In total, Malaysia has recorded 151,066 cases, with 3,211 new patients and 8 deaths today. Genting Malaysia's wholly owned subsidiary, Genting UK, permanently closed its Genting Casino Southport in the northwest of England, with 38 staff members facing redundancy. According to a report by gaming news portal G3 Newswire, Genting Malaysia said the closure was simply unavoidable, citing unprecedented challenges created by the COVID-19 outbreak across the leisure industry. A Genting Malaysia spokesperson was quoted as saying that while the company has worked tirelessly over the past 10 months to sustain the business as best as possible, the lack of business during the COVID-19 closures left it no choice but to shutter the casino. The gaming group has already closed casinos in Margate, Torquay and Bristol, and has reduced its workforce in London, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Blackpool and Birmingham. BATU KAWAN says it now controls 92.14% of Chemical Company of Malaysia after receiving more acceptances for its RM3.10 takeover offer. Given that the company now holds more than 90% of CCM, it will not be maintaining CCM's listing on Bursa Malaysia. Trading in CCM's shares will be suspended upon the expiry of 5 market days from the closing date of the offer, which has been pushed to February 2nd. CCM will be taking the requisite steps to withdraw its listing status from Bursa's official list. At the close, CCM was 0.32% lower at RM3.08, valuing the company at RM515.1 million. Meanwhile, BATU KAWAN was unchanged at RM18 for a market capitalization of RM7.13 billion.